Oh boy. What's up guys? How are you doing? I don't know about you, but I did not saw that coming. The Rhyniognatha dropped into Arc in the most unexpected way possible. It totally took me by surprise, but now that I think about it, it makes sense to be introduced now. In August, we're moving to Ascended, so there wasn't really too much time left to drop this. Anyways, today we're doing an in-depth analysis of the new flyer Rhyniognatha, Arc's new helicopter. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it OP? What can it do? Should I give a f about it? Those are the questions we are answering today. So let's jump straight into it. The Rhyniognatha is a one-of-a-kind flyer. Due to its combination of stats, versatility, utility, and taming method. We're not talking about an ordinary flyer today, we're talking about a contender for the best flyer in Arc, even the best creature in Arc. I'm going to skip the taming process, but if you want to find an efficient way to tame the Rhynio, I will upload a full taming guide pretty soon. And if I already did that by the time you watch this video, check out the description. So, let's start with the saddle and the stats. The saddle is unlocked at level 90, and surprisingly costs polymer to craft, doubling down on the fact that this is a late game creature. It has 2 seats and allows the use of weapons when riding. The base health and weight really stand out, being actually better than both the Quetz and the Wyvern, with only the Astrocetus having better stats in those 2 categories among the flyers. The stamina bar is admittedly bang average, but the bug has a pretty decent stamina consumption rate, making up for it. It also has decent base damage, which on the wiki isn't 69 base damage as it resulted from my calculations. It's actually 55, which is not bad, but we're gonna talk more about damage when we get to that part of the video. Notice the impressive 800 base oxygen stat as well. Kind of weird to praise such a stat for a flyer, right? Well, for this one it's actually important, since it can swim. Let's talk about mobility. This certainly is one of the many strengths of this creature. It can move sideways and has a really good turning radius on land, and moves pretty fast when flying, while also being able to strafe right and left and fly backwards like a helicopter. It can also land and slide across the surface of water, or dive into it. It can even latch onto vertical surfaces. Honestly, I don't know what else you could have wanted. This makes it officially a top 3 most versatile and mobile creatures of all time. Now that we got these 2 out of the way, let's talk about abilities. The most notorious ability of the new bug is its carrying ability. It's the best of any flyer in the game, allowing the Rhynio to carry creatures up to 600 drag weight. That means it can carry up to the size of Parasaur. However, there are some notable exceptions. You cannot carry a Parasaur with a platform saddle on it. And probably even stranger than this, although you can carry rock drakes, you cannot carry Managarmars. Also, you cannot pick up any flying or water creature, alphas, bosses, titans, and even some event creatures like the Super Turkey. In addition to this, the Rhynio can also carry single furniture, like the Volt, just like an Exomac. Strangely enough, they need to consume resin to be able to carry furniture, 1 resin every 30 seconds, but they don't need it to carry creatures. Be careful though, if you run out of resin mid-flight, your cargo will be instantly destroyed. And the wildest thing, the Rhynio can carry these structures regardless of what's inside. That means you can move vaults full of resources, like metal or other structures, across the map without needing to take their weight into consideration. Honestly, I don't know if this is a feature or a bug. Also, do not cryo a Rhynio that carries something, because that structure will automatically be destroyed. But speaking of resin, what is that? And what else can we use it for? Well, it's created by the Rhynio automatically by converting sap in its inventory to resin at a 1-for-1 rate. Besides allowing you to carry furniture, it powers up the Rhynio's ranged attacks. It has 3 different range attacks, with fixed damage. That means you cannot increase their damage by leveling up the melee stat of the creature. The first mode is an assault rifle-like attack, called Needle, that deals 75 damage per shot, and it uses 1 resin for each shot. The second attack is a rocket. It can be point targeted, just like the needle, or if you hold right click, you will enter the target locking mode. Once the target is locked, you will unleash a homing missile that will be really hard to dodge by your target. It takes 3 resin per shot and deals 150 damage, while also applying 1 stack of resin debuff to your target. The last attack is a bomb. It takes 5 resins for 1 bomb, deals 100 damage on impact, and applies 1 stack of resin debuff on impact. More importantly, it leaves behind a resin puddle that continuously applies the debuff to creatures that are standing in it until the stacks are maxed out or until it expires. The resin debuff is basically a stack-based slow that also disables tech gear. Once the debuff is maxed, the dots will turn red and the creature/player will be unable to move, but is still able to attack. While the dots are red, you won't be able to apply any more resin, and once the target is free, you will have to wait a bit before you can apply the resin debuff once again. The Rhyniognatha is immune to the resin debuff. And the last thing that can be done with the resin is activating the resin armor. While active, it reduces incoming damage by 45% and consumes 1 resin for 30 seconds of armor. Carrying furniture with the armor active will not increase the resin consumption. Its next special ability is a scare ability, wrongly labeled as taunt. A taunt is what the Magmasaur has, forcing creatures to attack him. The ability works similar to a UT scare roar, but it doesn't need to be stacked for any creature and does not increase damage dealt to the scared creature. And surprisingly, it also works on UTs. Keep in mind that the Resin Attack and the Taunt ability cannot be used while submerged. Only the melee attack and the resin armor work underwater. And finally, on the left click, the Rhynio has its melee attack that scales with the melee multiplier. The wiki states it has 55 base damage. Using the damage formula I found in the Karkar vs Giga video, I calculated that the Rhynio had 69 base damage, due to a 20% damage resistance for wild creatures that I found out about in a Steam thread when doing research for the Karkar vs Giga video. Well, it turns out my formula is not correct. Apparently, if I only multiply the base damage with the melee percentage, I get the exact value of the Rhynio's attack. I tested for the Bronto and Spino too, and it also works perfectly for them. But when I switch to the Giga or the Karkar, my formula with the wild resistance is once again perfectly accurate. What the f***? I suspect the value for the Karkar on the wiki is wrong, but the main problem is the damage formula. Please, if someone knows more about this, comment down below. Now, the last thing we have to talk about regarding the Rhynio is utility. And honestly, it's good at everything. Taming, carrying resources, fighting, tanking damage, traveling, assaulting bases. This thing can do it all. It's truly worthy to be the last creature added to Ark Survival Evolved. Weaknesses? The Megatherium, I guess? And the jellyfish, you're not immune to them. Also, someone commented on Ross Clark's Rhynio video saying that the Stego does reflect damage to the Rhynio, and the Impale attack one-shots them. I haven't tested these myself, because I think those are bugs and will get patched out, if they haven't been already. We'll see how it compares with the other King of the Sky, the Wyvern. But that's for another video. And even if the Rhynio loses an aerial battle, it can always just dive into the sea and escape. So yeah, good luck killing these things in PvP. That's it guys, now you know everything important to know regarding the abilities of the Rhyniognatha. If you think I missed anything, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful and subscribe to the channel. I got a video about taming and raising the Rhynio and a comparison with the Wyvern in the works right now. You don't want to miss them. Spartacus, out.